Welcome back to my channel and to my second video tutorial where I want to show you how to do interesting things in R. Today I want to talk about how you can scrape data, in specifically tables, from websites, wrangle with them in R. That means manipulating it. We don't want all the text exactly the same and so on. And then post it directly from R to a WordPress website. So this is our data source. I play baseball here in Austria, and I'm also responsible for the website of my club. And it was really tedious to update after every weekend the schedule and the standings by hand and blah blah blah. So I decided to look into it, and all the data we need is here on the official website from Baseball Austria. So I found a way to scrape this table, and actually also this one, the standings, but we will only focus on this one today. Do some changes because I don't want it like this on our website. It's a little bit different. Then actually automatically update it to the WordPress website. So I guess that's clear. Let's get started. So here are all the packages we need for today. If you don't have them, I guess you know that you can type in install packages and then the package you want. Let's do some. It will say that it's already installed, and do I want to install it again? No. But if you don't have it, then that's the way to go. So we load all our packages. Then with HTTR, it has a get function. I have to say, before we go any further, I'm not a web guy at all. So I did a lot of tutorials myself and looked into it and played around. So if I say something stupid here, please let me know, but this is just the gist of it to get it working. So with HTTR we have a get function. There we put in the actual URL from the website we want our data from. If we do that, we have, let's see, I think I showed you that in the last video. If you want to know what kind of object an object is, you use class. Yeah, so this is an object. It has the class response. If we look into it, it's a list, a nested list actually. But with the XML2 package, we can transform this into another object. Let's see what this is. Now it's just a character. It's a list of 2, and with the package rvest, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, we can look for HTML nodes inside of this object here that we just transformed with XML2. So we feed into it as the first argument RLO, that's our object. So that's basically this website now. And we tell it, look for a CSS class, I think, please correct me if I'm wrong here, that is a table. So how did I know what to look for? In Google Chrome, when you right click, that's a German version of Google Chrome, but I think it's the last thing when you right click here, so I guess it's investigate or something. You can, this thing pops up. And if you click here and try to find where the content is that you actually need, in this case that's our table, like this, then you click, and then here is all the HTML, CSS, whatever code. And what I was looking for was, I think that was my thought process. Okay, it looks like there's the whole class is called table, and when I hover over this, I can see that the thing that I want is marked. So I just tried it out. I just said, okay, from the object RLO, give me the CSS class called with the name table. And then I can show you what comes back, because actually there are two tables on the website, because it's the standings here that's looking stupid now, because it's the standings and the schedule. So I figured, okay, what if I just want the second table, the schedule? Let's see if this works. And I tried it, and it does. We can see here. Okay, now we just have one table, and I saved this in a new object called schedule. Oh, here's a German note. I will change this later when I upload it to my website. So, and to transform this object again now, it's really complicated. It took me, I think, 2 or 3 days. But I think basically if you want to get tables from websites, it should work like this. So let's see what happens if we do this, transform it to HTML table. Example. Let's see what kind of class it is now. Oh, yeah. So now it's a list that looks already kind of what we want it to, but not exactly. It's not a data frame, it's still a list. So to transform it into a data frame, more specifically in this case into a data table, we use R bind list from data table. It's basically a really nice and easy way to transform almost any kind of list into a data frame. So if we click here now, we can see we have a conventional data frame. I talked a little bit about data table in my last video, in the first one where we looked at Plotly and how to work with dates and time. So I will not go into detail what's going on with data table. If you want to know more about data table itself, please let me know. I can make a video about data table. I think it's an awesome package that not a lot of people use for whatever reason. So now we have in the schedule all the games from the whole league here. But for my website, from my club, I just want our dates. So our club is called Crazy Geese and our town is Rohrbach, so I just want the lines from this table where only we are playing. So what I'm doing in R is I say give me the schedule object, and from the schedule object every line where home, that's a column here in our data table, where home equals Robert Crazy Geese, that's us, or every column where away equals Robert Crazy Geese. And if we do that, when we look here, we can see that it changed from 60 to 20 objects, and now we have a table with all the lines where my team is playing. So okay, that's cool. And now using data table again, I want to create a new column, because the date column here is kind of messed up. It's like the date and a weird time, and then the date again. So what I'm doing is I'm creating in this line here, I'm creating a new column, and we don't want to do anything with lines like we did here. So we just set a comma and say nothing. Yes, please use all the lines. We name our column Datum, that's the German word for date, more or less. And then we say strip the time from schedule date, from the column, from the vector, more or less, and look for the format year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds, separated with dashes here, with a space here, and with, I never know what this is called. Cologne? Is it a Cologne? Doppelpunkt in German. Here. So you really have to look at how the information is stored in your vector. You can see it's the year here, then a dash, the month, dash, day, space, hour, Cologne, I think, minute, thing I don't know, second. And if we do this, let's see if we can just run this so we have an output. It gives us back exactly what we want, the date and the time and the time zone, but that's not important in this case. If we run the whole line, it does what I said before, that it creates a new column called datum, and hopefully that worked and we can check. So here we can see, okay, now we have datum in the format we want, and the date is obligatory now. Obligatory? Yeah, excuse me, I'm Austrian. I think you know what I mean. So, but actually what I want for the website is, I want one line with the date, that's datum here in German, and one when the game starts. So I want the time. I want 2 columns. Let's go back to R. So here I use again, here it was an argument, the format. The format you can see here, and a format itself is actually also a function. So I can use format, again the column I want, and now I only want the day, month and year. I want to turn it around. That's more conventional in Austria and Germany to do it like this. So if we do that, we can hopefully see, yeah, now it has the format we want, the day, month and the year separated by periods. We just feed that into the column, and when we check again, it should be here. Yeah, now we only have the date. But what I also want, oh wow, I guess this just turned into a live coding session because this doesn't make any sense. That's a good example, because this is redundant. What I'm doing here is transform date to datum, blah, 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 and then overwrite datum with the form I want. But if I'm already doing, and then I'm doing the same thing here, but store it in a new column and then overwrite this column. So what I'm gonna do now is change this, say, okay, please strip the time, but actually overwrite the original column. Let's see if this works on the first try, would be awesome. Let's run this code here again so we have a fresh start. This needs to go. Let's see how it looks now. Yeah, it looks like before. Okay, so let's run this. Oh, maybe that was the reason. Oh yeah, that was the reason. But anyway, then let's still do it smarter. Let's call this schedule date new. I think the problem here is that this, however this class of format doesn't correspond at all with the original format. So let's make a new column and see if this works. If not, I have to cut it. The video, I mean. So no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why is it not working? Okay, one more try. If you know why this isn't working, please let me know. So let's use data table again. I really trust data tables, so let's hope this is working. Mark again everything, run it again, and hope. Oh yeah, it changed it. Yeah, okay, it worked. Okay, for whatever reason the previous approach didn't work. If you know why, please let me know. Would be awesome. And now, actually, let's stick with data table. What was it called? Datum. It's called datum. Yeah. So, schedule again, data table, all lines please. Now we need a different operator and close the square brackets again. So let's run this and hope again. Looks good. No, doesn't look good. But why? Oh, I know why. I need to tell it to use the new column. Yep, awesome. So this worked, and now let's get rid of, nope, let's not get rid of this. Just do it the same way, but you keep the format. So we use data table again, but it's called begin. Now we'll clean this up in a second, so it's not so confusing, so we don't need this anymore. Close it. So to recap, I said take the weird first column, strip the format from it I want, and store it in date new. Then take only the day, month, and year from the newly created one, store it into this new column, and do basically the same thing but with the hours and minutes, and call it begin. So let's run this and see if that actually worked. Awesome. Date, begin. Okay, so that was interesting. Turned into a live coding session. But let me know if you want to see live coding sessions, if these are more valuable for you. So now, I still don't like the table how it is. The field where it's played, it turned out when I uploaded it to the website that there are too much characters and there are weird page breaks and stuff. So what I'm doing is I use again data table. I say look in the lines and look at the column field. So look at the column field here and look at lines that contain, that's this operator, like that contain Rohrbach. If you find a line, overwrite the field column, the line that you just found, with Rohrbach. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Oh yeah, this looks weird now, because it could look like I'm only replacing Rohrbach with Rohrbach. But here this means I'm looking for lines that contain Rohrbach, and it actually is Gies Bolbach dash Rohrbach, way too long. So, and here I'm replacing it with Rohrbach itself. So if we run this, we can see nothing because we have to load it again. We can see that now it's just Rohrbach. We do the same thing with Schwächert, because actually they play in Randersdorf, but whatever, they are called Schwächert Bluebet. We have 3 clubs and 2 fields in Vienna. So I want to make this distinction. Let's see, where is, yeah, this was too long for me. So because this ballpark is in Vienna, it's called Ballpark Spinalwiese Baseball for whatever reason. And this is also in Vienna, it's called Freudenau Vienna. It's the German word for Vienna. I wanted to have this the same way, so I look for Spinadelwiese that contains Spinadelwiese and give it the same form as Freudenau. So now we have, as you can see, Freudenau Wien and Spinadelwiese Wien. And Schrems is also way too long. Let's see what's the problem with Schrems here. Beersfield, they're called Schrems Beers, yeah. I also like the name. We replace this and now we can see it's just Schrems. Awesome. So for the team names, I want to do the same thing, but I want to look in all columns. Actually, I don't want to look in all columns, but I'm effectively looking in all columns. I just want to look in the home and away column and make the names shorter. So I want to go from Rohrbach Crazy Geese to Crazy Geese and from Schwächer Bluebeds to Bluebeds. So what I'm doing, let's start in the center. I'm using mgsub. I also used this in the first video. Basically it's gsub, but you can feed into it multiple arguments. So I'm saying this x is here because it refers to this x in the function. So normally you would feed it, you could just feed it a vector, column from a data frame, whatever. So it's actually the data to work on. Then I say look for Rohrbach Crazy Geese and for Schwächer Bluebeds, and I have to put this in a vector again and replace it with Crazy Geese and Bluebeds. So mgsub is smart enough that if it finds the first argument here or the first entry here, replace it with this entry, and if you find this one here, replace it with the second one here. So it's doing this, but I want to do it for these two columns, home and away. So I decided to use lapply, and lapply takes a function like the function in this case is mgsub, and applies it. I think originally to a list, but it can also handle data frames. So I'm saying apply this function here, mgsub, to schedule, in this case a data frame, and it means that it goes through every column of the data frame and applies the mgsub. So obviously it's redundant a bit, but it was just, I had it and it worked, so I stopped playing around, because I know that here is no Rohrbach and here is no Schwächert, but it also checks for it. Obviously it doesn't replace anything because there's nothing here, but it replaces it here. It doesn't here because there's no Rohrbach and no Schwächert. It replaces it here because it finds it, and excuse me, Rohrbach is Rohrbach Crazy Geese, because it would find Rohrbach here, but I'm looking for Rohrbach Crazy Geese, and it looks here but it doesn't find anything, but it's so fast that it doesn't really make a difference. Oh, what does it say? Maybe I did something wrong again. I run the whole code, see what it says now. Something results in a double. So this isn't working. Let's see another live coding segment, if we can make sense. Let me look for a second, and I will cut here, but you will not see it. I will figure this out and come back. So okay, I found the solution. The problem was because I changed the code up here. If you remember, we actually made this new column here. If we look at the structure, we can see that this wasn't here before because I overrode it all the time, but now it stays here because I did it once and then got out of it what I needed. So it's still here, and it's not a character or any or number, or numeric or whatever. It's actually the date format. And it turned out that these lines here don't know what to do with exactly this column that has the date format. So what I'm doing is I'm using select from dplyr, I never know how to pronounce it. I say use the schedule data frame and select all columns except date new, and we do this by putting the minus here in front. So if we do this and then we look at our data table, we can see that the date new column is gone, and if we run this again, it should work now. So yeah, so it's only crazy geese here and blue beds. Okay, awesome. So now the season is already over. Actually, the new one is about to begin. So if we go to our source, normally we have this column here that if the game isn't played by whatever date, it's the time of the game. So it's not the result, it's the time. But what I want is the results in one column and the dates we already had before. That's what we were doing before. So what I'm telling grep L here is look in the column that it's weirdly called time results. That's why we have to put these things here, and give me every line that contains space dash space. So this gives me back, in this case it gives me back, actually every line contains it, but because we already played every game, because this was the 2018 season. But nevertheless, it still works. So now we have a vector here, a value vector, and then we use data table again. We can also feed it logical vectors. So before the comma, we say use this vector here, and because it's all true, it will give us back every line of the schedule. And then we say make a new column that's called Ergebnis, that's German for result, and fill it, that's also awesome in data table, fill it with the values of time and results. So if we do this, we can see that we now have a new column called Ergebnis, and it's actually the same as here. But imagine that during the season, here would be a time. Let's say starting from let's just make the last line. We haven't played the last game. So the results vector here would be true, 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 all the way, and here it would say false. And then it would just do this thing here, taking the values from time results into Ergebnis for all the lines except for the last line. Here. So here, till here would be nothing. But then I'm telling data table again, now give me all the lines that are not true, if you want it like that. So it's not, because the normal behavior is it gets a vector and it says true, how often? 20 times, and it gives you every line, every element, every line here that is true. And here we say reverse this. So give me every line that says false. That's what we do with the exclamation mark. And then we say also fill again the Ergebnis column, but now I just want a dash. So I run this, but it will do nothing because it says true everywhere. Actually, let's do it. Let's go to results and go to the 20th element. Yep. And let's feed it something. The game starts at 13. Oh, no, nope, that was stupid. We just put it to false. Let's see if this worked. Yes, so true, false. So we do this again, and if we do this now, it should have the spaces and the dash at the end. Yeah, that's what happens. So just imagine not all games would be played, so this, the first step here, would contain true and false entries. Okay, now we are ready to select only the columns we want and the order we want. So we use select again from dplyr. We say select from schedule from the data frame. At the first column we want the date, then we want the beginning, then we want the home column, but actually call the home column Heim. That's a German word for it. So here we say it's the column will be called Heim, but actually the column is now named home. We do the same thing with Gast, that's the translation for away. Same thing here, Spielort field. And as the last column we want Ergebnis. So if we do this and we check it again, we can see we have this table. Now this table already looks a lot like the end table here, just with some formatting. They are in the right order and so on. But as you can see here, when we have home games, when we play in Rohrbach, I want it to have blue lines. So to make the lines blue, I want to know which games, let's go back to the website, are played in Rohrbach. So for that, I feed the which function, the Spielort, that's the field, where it is, vector, and I say look for with the double equal sign Rohrbach. And if we do that, it gives us back the first element is Rohrbach, the second, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, and so on. And we save this in a vector. And we will use this in a second to actually make them blue. Here we use cable. That's I use it here to make the HTML table itself. So I feed it. I feed the cable function the data frame itself column. Here I haven't found. Oh, actually I have found. That's stupid. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and I want them centered. So that's how it works. I want all of them centered, but I have to have an element for every column. But I just found out that this is stupid, because instead of doing it like this, just really writing in C 6 times, we can use the rep function. Let's see if I can do it by heart. I say maybe it's the other way around, but it should be repeat if you want. I think it means something else. Yeah, the C 6 times. Let's see what it stands for actually. Replicate. Yeah, so replicate C 6 times. So this should work also now, and that's a way nicer way than writing C 6 times. I wrote this code 1 year ago. I learned a little bit since then, which is good. So then we pipe this into cable styling. I think cable styling is included not in the cable package, but in the cable extra package. Yeah, we can see it here. So this is a way where you can see, okay, the function cable styling is included in the package cable extra. So here I'm saying it would be too long to get into Bootstrap and whatever that is and what responsive means. I don't know a lot about that myself. I researched it. I'm just saying use a responsive design for the table. Then I'm piping this again into the row spec function. I'm just interested now. That's also cable extra. And now I'm saying I want to color some specific lines. So now I'm giving in the vector we had before where it says 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 and so on. So now it will know to color the first, the second, the fifth, the sixth and so on row in this color. That's a blue. Okay, that's it so far. All of this I put into a Markdown, into an R Markdown file. If you don't know what this is, if you want me to do something about it, please let me know. Would be happy to. But for now, we just need to know this is the code we needed to prepare everything, what we did the last, I don't know how long, half an hour or longer. And what we are doing here, we are actually making an HTML site. And here with this chunk, it's called a chunk, I'm saying just display the data or the cable table now. The cable table, that's stupid, that's called schedule formats. That means that it's formatted how we want, and just show it. And here we just say, I think this is Markdown for bold. Yeah, I think that's the case. I just say that's still the German comment. Just show it. And to test if all of this is working, we can go to knit here. So if we click on knit, it will do some stuff. Here we can see, I hope I don't have any error messages, and it will open up a preview. And now we can see this is actually already the file, the HTML file like it is here, which is kind of awesome. So all of this stuff here was just to transform the original table that we scraped in the way we want. And to show it, all you need is really this to format it and this to show it. Okay, now we have this. But now we want to automatically post it to the WordPress site. So I need to be careful now because here are my actual credentials in. Yeah, but you can't see them. So what we need to do, we need a package called R WordPress. But the problem is with the current R version, it's not working anymore. So I found a workaround. We need knit R again. That wasn't the problem. We need to directly get R WordPress from GitHub. So this is the short version. I researched today a bit to make it work again. We need install GitHub from the remotes package, and for our WordPress to work, and we need our WordPress to post it to WordPress, as you can imagine. We also need this thing here. So I'm not sure if remotes is base R. I've never used it before today. Yeah, I have no idea what remotes is. Maybe it's base R. If it isn't, just use again install packages, or maybe it's in the DevTools package, whatever. Doesn't matter. If you do this, it should work. So to post it to WordPress, what you will need to do up here is you need to define in the options your WordPress login. So this would be a vector with your actual WordPress username. So it's like it's the name that you would use if you log in to WordPress. Let's show you. Login. It should work. I hope I'm not signed in. So yeah, it's this here. So in my case, it's admin, and of course, I'm not giving you my password. And so you put admin here in my case, whatever your username is, and here you put in the password in quotes, and this part here for the URL, for the WordPress URL, is always the same. I mean, the ending is always the same. The part before that is the URL to your WordPress site. So in this case, it's crazygeese.at. Whatever it is, then slash, and then xml blah 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 php. So when this is set in the options, you can go ahead and use knit to WordPress in long, knit to WP. And there we say, okay, you will find an R Markdown file at this location, this path. You will title the page in this case as this thing here, Spielplan, that means schedule in German. You will publish it immediately because I already tested it in this case. The action is because it already exists, the post or page, in this case it's a page, page already exists, so please edit it, and the post ID is this here. If it's not in here, if you have other permalinks, you should be able to find this in the options, the ID of the page. So we give it this, and if we run, this will not work now because there are no actual credentials, but I have the code here where somewhere up the real credentials are, but you will not see them. If we do this, it should now hopefully automatically do everything and update to WordPress. We cannot see anything now because nothing changed. So to show you that it really works, let's go back and just do some arbitrary thing. So let's say we don't want this to Schrems. To change this to Schrems, we want to change this to this really works. And the cool thing is we don't have to run anything here, we just save it, because this code here will actually execute the RMD file and then upload it. So all we have to do is hopefully run this again. Does its thing. It's really fast actually. And now instead of Schrems we should say, I forgot already what I wrote. This really works. So this was Schrems before, now it's this really works. And that's it. The thing is, I only showed you the schedule today. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm also updating directly from R the schedule. We only were 4th place last year. We hope we will be better this year. It's a similar thing. We also have a slow pitch team. So I'm web scraping also this side here that should come up. It's not updated now for the new season, but it's basically the same. I do the same for the table. I do something a little bit different to the sidebar standings here. It's a little bit more complicated, but basically it's the same thing. If you want to know about it, please let me know. And we also have the next events section here. Now we just play softball inside in 1 week or something. But I have a whole script that checks the baseball and the slow pitch, reads out the next game, checks which one is nearer in the future, and orders it. If you want to know about that, again, let me know. I'm happy to show you. And then I also have a little script that just executes all of this automatically once a day. Because it turns out, even though I play the game on Sunday, I go home and I forget to even start the script. Before that, I had to spend an hour, or my good friends need to spend an hour to update everything. So we are so lazy now that we're even forgetting to start the script. So I did a cron job, whatever, doesn't matter. It executes automatically every day to a set time. You could execute it every 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. So that's all that's possible. I hope you found it interesting, the first part. If you want to know more about it, if you want to know something else about R, whatever, let me know. You can let me know via my homepage here. When you go to contact, just put in your name and mail and whatever you want to tell me. You can also subscribe to my mailing list if you like this video or the video before or whatever you want to hear from me. Subscribe to my mailing list, please. You can also choose to support me. You can do so one time via PayPal or monthly via Steady, where you just click on it and choose how much you would want to give me per month. Yeah, as I said, contact me whenever you want. Happy to do more of these, and thank you for watching so long. It turned a little bit into a live coding thing, but that's interesting. I think if you're new to coding, that's what it is. You do stuff, you find errors, you try to fix them. That's coding. Don't believe anyone who shows you code that works all the time. I mean, believe them, but that's not how they are developed. It's a lot of trial and error. Okay, thank you again. See you till next time.